Welcome, fellow watch lovers. Today we're looking at the Watchdvies vintage sub, the Snowflake homage. Thought we'd take a brief look at this one, as it's a little unique in a few of the features that we have here. Going over the specifications of the watch, we have this blue dial finish with a matte bezel insert, and then we have C3 superluminova hands and indices, and the indices are painted on there, and then we also have the little white paint for the minutes. We have a printed on logo, and as well as the printed text. So some of the unique features here are we have this matte ceramic dial or matte ceramic bezel insert, which I don't think I've seen one of this color and style on any other watch. And then, of course, getting the snowflake hands, that vintage aesthetic is a little unusual. The pip is raised, as you can see here. We do have a very slight dome to the sapphire crystal that extends a little bit beyond the case. You can probably barely see it here in the video, but it is very slightly domed. It is not completely flat. Seems like a pretty good balance to me on that. We have brushed 316L stainless steel case and bracelet. The side of the case is polished, and honestly this is really the same as the Smurf sub that I previously reviewed, clearly using the same case as well as the same bracelet. The only difference is basically the hands difference, the bezel difference, and then the dial differences. But everything else is the same. So, not really a whole lot of need to deep dive into that. I've already done a review on that. For those of you who either haven't seen that or want to look at it, the bracelets are fairly comfortable, but annoyingly very jangly. You do have 6 micro adjustments, so you can get a very good fit out of these, but since it's no on-the-fly adjustment, you're going to probably want to wear it a bit loose so that your wrist can expand during the summer months. I think if they would just improve the tolerances on both the bracelet and then as well as clasp feels solid, but when you tap on it, it makes some noise. And of course, that means that you could improve the tolerances there, and I think that would really raise the watch to another level. Thought I'd give you some comparison here. So we have a San Martin on the left, which is retails for a little more than probably double what this watch costs here. The bracelet is really much higher quality, much better standards and tolerances on the San Martin than the Watchdvies. But if you compare it to a watch that plays sort of in that same price point, like a Pagani design, then honestly, I think there's a lot of value here above the Pagani design from the standpoint of you're getting much better lume on this piece, on the Watchdvies piece, as the Pagani design lume is really poor. Probably like the bracelet itself better on Pagani design, but the one thing about these Pagani design classes, they are extremely sharp. I usually have to take a filing tool to make it so that it doesn't feel like it's poking me, and that's where the Watchdvies and these micro adjustments come into play, because you can really get a better fit using that system. Both the bracelets are a bit more jangly than I'd like. It's sort of the trade-off you're making at this price point, unless they're able to really clean up their tolerances on these things. At that price point, it is really difficult to beat this watch in terms of specifications and looks and aesthetics. They claim 300 meters of water resistance, which is 3 times what the Pagani design claims. The bezel action, it doesn't sound anywhere near as premium as a San Martin, but it doesn't really have backplay, and it lines up pretty well. It's easy to turn. It's a good balance between resistance and ability to turn it. Though the clicking noise that it does make sounds cheap compared to a number of other watches. We are dealing with about above a 40 millimeter case here, almost 47 millimeter lug to lug. I guess correction. Let's go ahead and take this on the, since we do have male end links, we're at 53 there. The thickness with that dome is a little bit on the high side, though it doesn't feel quite that thick in reality, but it is, thicker than some other models that are of the subgenre, and especially in a vintage aesthetic. The handset and dial, easily strap swappable, 20 millimeters here, down to just under 18 millimeters before it tapers back up to almost 20. The size for my 7.5 inch wrist, we are at 159 grams, so it does have some nice heft to it. NH35 movement in it, which I always think is the right choice on these budget-oriented automatic watches, because it gives you hacking, hand winding, and proven reliability. In terms of aesthetics, I really like the blue color on this. It's unique and different than other things. Goes with a lot of stuff in my own wardrobe. Feels like it's definitely something different than all the other watches that I have. I would say that I would probably prefer those little white indices or the little white markers to be shorter. They stand out to me a little bit more than I'd probably like them to. I do like the muted gray on the bezel insert, and the yellow hands and indices, I think, go well for that vintage aesthetic. I appreciate the fact they use C3 Superluminova in there to give it a nice bright glow. Well, I hope this review has been helpful to you, and if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe to the channel.